My name is The topic of my presentation today is the robots revolution. Now, I'm a big fan of movies and TV shows. I especially like shows and TV movies that depict their version of the future. I love how creative writers get, like how creative they get with their imagination. From the dystopian cities of Blade Runner, the utopian societies of Star Trek, an incredibly tacky-looking hill city in Back to the Future 2, and the cloud cities of the Jetsons. All these places are filled with all sorts of incredible and amazing technology, such as flying cars. We can probably see flying cars in every sci-fi movie like ever. And humanoid androids that look exactly like us humans, but much more intelligent. And teleportation devices that can take us all over the galaxy within a few seconds. And of course, the hoverboard from Back to the Future 2, where you can just glide along in the city without having to worry about friction. Now, of course, when I was growing up, I was very excited. I thought that when I grow up, I'll be able to use at least some of these technologies in my life. Of course, I didn't expect like teleportation devices to actually come true, but I did expect some of them to materialize at least. But unfortunately, as we all know, that is not the case. I don't know about any of you guys, but I came to school today on a bus and not on a hoverboard or on teleportation device. But that doesn't mean that there hasn't been attempts. Lexus, the car manufacturing company, actually released a video of a skateboarder riding a hoverboard in a skate park. Now, when I saw this thing over here, I was extremely excited. I thought, oh, my fantasy will finally come true. I can finally recreate that scene for Back to the Future. But unfortunately, I later found out that they only work on tracks that were specifically built for it. And the less that is said about non-hovering hoverboards, all these fake imitations, the better. Now, there is one scene that's slowly becoming true in our everyday life, and that is in Back to the Future 2, when Marty McFly sees a drone taking a dog out for a walk. Now, in the past, only those that worked in high-tech factories and scientists who worked in their research labs have access and regular interactions with robots. But in this day and age, it has become more and more common for us to see drones and robots around us. Like you'll see hobbyists flying their drones all around the city. You'll see people employing tiny robot vacuums to clean their houses, and restaurants employing the use of robots to cut up noodles. You can probably find a few of this in the night market close to our school. Now, besides all of the ones that I just mentioned, the more apparent ones, their uses are actually growing in fields such as medicine, education, construction, and even law enforcement. Now, in the medical field, hospitals are currently employing robots that help to distribute medicine to different patients. Now, what it does is that it will get filled up with medicine, and then it will automatically go to the individual patients and hand the medicine to them. And once the robot runs out of medicine, it will simply just go back to the pharmacy to refill, to repeat the entire process all over again. Now, in the construction sector, the drones can be used for land and construction surveying. Now, it's much cheaper for a construction firm to simply buy a drone and have one of their employees fly their drones up into the air than it is to hire a helicopter and to bring one of their surveyors up into the air every time they want to have a bird's eye view of the site. Now, having a bird's eye view, a constant bird's eye view, will also definitely help with the safety standards of the site. Because if we can see everything in great detail, we will be able to know what is wrong and what needs to be changed. Now, in the education field, humanoid robots are actually being used to educate children who suffer from autism. Now, the children have a much easier time of relating with robots because they have no emotions, and then they, instead of interacting with adult human teachers and other children. So, and the robots, they are small and they have very human-like movements. They are able to help teach language and play simple card games with the children. And what makes them effective is their ability to mimic human movements and to have very predictable actions. That's what makes it so effective. Now, in regards to using robots, drones in the field of law enforcement, there is an argument that it is not very safe because robots and drones, they are not alive. They are not able to determine the context of the situation, and they might use excessive force when none of such force is actually called on. But regardless of that argument, using drones and robots in law enforcement will definitely help to save a lot of lives, because instead of having to send a real-life human police officer into a very dangerous neighborhood, you can simply just send in a drone or robot. The worst thing that can happen to a robot or drone is that they might get damaged or they might get destroyed, whereas if it's a human, he might get shot, get injured, and even die. And I'm guessing that there's no one who would really support having a higher casualty number for police force. Now, a South African firm actually developed a drone that can shoot out paintball that is filled with pepper spray and other projectiles. Now, instead of having to deploy an entire battalion of police officers every time there's a riot, they can simply just deploy maybe 2 or 3 of these things over here to disperse the crowd. And that will greatly help to save the manpower in the police force, and they can deploy the police into other areas such as solving more crimes. Now, there is a downside to this roboticization of our civilization, and that is certain jobs that are currently being done by humans will become obsolete. In the past, it was mostly just high-tech factories that employ the use of robots for manufacturing. But as robots become increasingly cheaper and cheaper to build, they are becoming more and more common in low-tech factories as well. And this results in blue-collar workers being put out of work. Now, this will not only happen in manufacturing, it will also happen in all of the previous fields that I mentioned before in my presentation. Nurses, number of nurses will be reduced in hospitals. The roles humans play in education will be shrinking increasingly. As you can see, there are more and more children learning things through their tablets and their smartphones than through human teachers. And if city governments find that it is cheaper and more efficient to employ robots to conduct law enforcement, they'll definitely freeze hiring more human officers. But just as the printing press put scribes out of work and made the automobile, made horse carriages irrelevant, and the invention of the light bulb reducing the need for oil lamp makers, they also created new industries and new jobs as well. Like, for example, in printing factories all over the world, they employ hundreds and thousands of people to print books, newspapers, and other reading materials. And the invention of the automobile created a whole industry that contains taxi drivers, parking attendants, and mechanics, and even second-hand car salesmen. Now, and the invention of the light bulb made it possible for workers to work well deep into the night instead of just having to go home after it gets dark. It also created an entire entertainment industry that revolves around having a nightlife. But of course, with the introduction of new technology, the governments around the world will also have to introduce new legislation as well. Because as with all technology, they can be misused. Over here you can see a person over here using a remote control airplane filled with bombs to commit an act of terrorism. But governments have found ways to help to deal with this. The Tokyo Police Department has employed their own drones equipped with a net to catch drones that are flying in sensitive areas that they're not supposed to be flying in. And of course, I don't expect hoverboards, teleportation devices, and flying cars to come to us in the near future. But I'm willing to bet that we'll be seeing more of these scenes with our own very eyes in the future, and we will not even bat an eye when we see it. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.